It was one of those golden Sunday afternoons in Willow Creek Park, Ohio, the kind where the sun felt just right. Families filled picnic tables with colorful blankets. Children's laughter echoed from the swings, and couples strolled hand in hand beneath towering oak trees, lost in their own little worlds. Among the joyful noise and calm breezes, a father named Marcus Bennett sat on a faded blue blanket with his 6-year-old daughter, Lily. Marcus had packed their usual simple lunch: peanut butter sandwiches, apple slices, and a thermos of homemade lemonade. It wasn't fancy, but Lily didn't care. She was too busy telling Marcus all about her plans for first grade, her tiny hands animated as she described how she'd make new friends and, maybe, become the class president. If first graders even have that, she added thoughtfully. Marcus chuckled, his deep voice warm and smooth. "You'd be the best class president ever," he said, giving her braid a playful tug. Lily giggled, her bright green eyes shining with excitement. She wiggled her loose tooth for him, proudly showing how it now tilted at a funny angle. To Marcus, these were the moments that made life feel whole. He was the kind of father who noticed the small things, the way Lily crinkled her nose when she laughed, how she pronounced spaghetti as spaghetti, and how she loved to swing so high it made him nervous. Not too far away, on a worn wooden bench, an older woman sat alone. Her silver-gray hair was tucked under a wide-brimmed sun hat, and she watched Marcus and Lily with a fixed gaze. Marcus noticed her, of course. He always did. Stares weren't new. He was used to the glances, the curious, sometimes warm, sometimes wary looks that came with being a black father to a white daughter. Some people smiled, perhaps understanding. Others? They let their unease seep into their expressions, their eyes lingering just a little too long. Today it was the latter, but Marcus had learned to brush it off. He had Lily. That was what mattered. "Daddy, can I go to the playground?" Lily asked, already halfway to her feet. "Of course, kiddo. Stay where I can see you," Marcus replied with a grin. She bolted, her pink sneakers flashing as she darted toward the jungle gym, her laughter trailing behind her like a ribbon in the wind. Marcus leaned back on his elbows, the sun warming his skin. But somewhere in the back of his mind, something tugged at him, a tension he had learned not to ignore. He didn't see the woman on the bench pull out her phone. Lily was a natural on the monkey bars, swinging from one to the next with a reckless joy only 6-year-olds possessed. Her ponytail bobbed as she leaped for the next bar, pink sneakers kicking in the air. Marcus watched closely, his protective instincts always on, but his face was relaxed. She was safe. She was happy. The woman on the bench, however, was not. She'd finished her call and now walked toward the playground, her steps slow but deliberate, as though every footfall cemented her resolve. Her mouth was set in a thin, tight line. "Excuse me," she called out, her voice cutting through the chatter of children. Lily paused mid-swing, her small hands tightening on the bar. "Hi," she chirped unfazed. The woman didn't smile. "Where's your mommy, sweetheart?" Lily blinked, then pointed with a free hand. "I'm here with my daddy." She grinned, proud. Marcus was already on his feet, the hairs on the back of his neck prickling. He took a few steps closer, his expression calm, but his pulse quickening. "Is there a problem, ma'am?" he asked, his voice smooth but firm. The woman turned to face him fully now, her brows furrowed with suspicion barely disguised as concern. "I was just checking," she said, her tone laced with judgment. "You don't exactly look related." Marcus felt his patience waver. "Not again." "She's my daughter," he said plainly. Lily, sensing the tension in her father's voice, hopped down and ran over to him, her small fingers wrapping around his hand. The woman crossed her arms. "You can't be too careful these days," she muttered, eyeing Lily as if searching for a sign of distress. Marcus knelt beside Lily, keeping his voice soft. "Why don't you grab your juice, pumpkin? I'll be right here." Lily hesitated, but nodded, running back to their blanket. The woman didn't budge. "You have to understand how this looks," she pressed. "A man like you with a child like her." Marcus straightened, his jaw tightening. "A father spending time with his daughter shouldn't look strange," he replied. But before either of them could say another word, The distant wail of sirens sliced through the park. His stomach sank. The woman's eyes darted toward the parking lot, a flicker of something, satisfaction, crossing her face. Two police cruisers rolled to a stop at the edge of the park. Conversations halted. Parents called their children closer, their gazes darting between the flashing lights and Marcus. Lily clutched her juice box, her small body stiff as she sat on the blanket. Marcus stayed where he was, his hands visible, his posture calm, because he knew the drill. Stay calm. Stay respectful. And most of all, don't let them see fear. Two officers stepped out, one male, one female. Their faces were unreadable, their movements brisk. The woman hurried over to them, gesturing wildly as she spoke. Marcus couldn't hear her words, but he didn't need to. He already knew. The male officer approached first, his hand resting lightly on his utility belt. "Sir, can we talk?" "Of course," Marcus replied, his voice even. The questions came fast. "What's your name? What are you doing here? Who's the child?" Marcus answered each one clearly, ignoring the knot forming in his throat. "She's my daughter, Lily Bennett. We come here every weekend." The officer's brow furrowed. "We got a call about a possible abduction." Marcus exhaled slowly. "She's adopted." The words hung heavy in the air. The female officer, who had been silent until now, took a step forward. "We'll need some identification." Marcus pulled out his wallet carefully, every movement deliberate. "Here's my license. And this," he retrieved a folded paper from his backpack, "is a copy of Lily's adoption papers." The officers retreated to verify everything. Time crawled. "Daddy." Lily's voice was soft, fragile. Marcus crouched beside her. "When not in trouble, Pumpkin." Her green eyes filled with tears. "But the lady thought we were." Finally, the female officer returned, her demeanor softer now. "Everything checks out. I'm sorry for the trouble, Mr. Bennett." Marcus accepted the documents back. "Thank you for being thorough." But the woman who had made the call wasn't done. "You just going to let this go? Look at them. It's not normal." The officer's expression hardened. "Ma'am, there's no issue here. I suggest you enjoy the rest of your afternoon." As the cruisers pulled away, the park slowly exhaled. Conversations resumed, though a subtle tension lingered. Marcus knew the hardest part wasn't over. "Daddy," Lily whispered, "why did that lady think we're not family?" He crouched beside her again, choosing his words. "Sometimes people don't understand families that look different from theirs. But being different doesn't make us less of family." Lily chewed her lip. "I love our family." Marcus smiled. "Me too, kiddo. Me too." As they packed up, a couple approached them. "I just wanted to say I'm sorry," the man said. "That shouldn't have happened." His wife nodded. "Your daughter's lucky to have you." "Thank you," Marcus replied. "I just hope next time people think before they assume." That night, as Marcus tucked Lily into bed, she looked up at him, her face thoughtful. "Daddy, maybe that lady needs to learn about kindness." Marcus kissed her forehead. "Maybe she does. But what matters is that you know you're loved." And as he closed her door, he promised himself that no amount of ignorance would ever make Lily feel like she didn't belong. Because love, real, deep, unconditional love, was bigger than bias. And it always would be.